Guys, welcome to Markeko Monday. Today we have a pretty, I would say, advanced intermediate topic, and it's really how to use UTMs to better track your campaigns and specifically for lead generation. So one of the things that we've struggled with, and we did this at first, is just understanding better where your leads were coming from, right? So yes, you know that your leads are coming from a Facebook campaign, but what audiences and what specific ads and campaigns are generating you the best results? And so, why do we do this? Because we've seen a number of things happening, right? So, usually, what happens is you have multiple campaigns with multiple audiences, right? So, think about your ad set. And if you haven't seen our video on campaign structure, you should. But usually what happens is that I have multiple ad sets, which I have my audience at this point, right? So at the ad set level, I have my audience. At the campaign level, it could be dates, it could be, I don't know, the type of ad that you're running. And I'm also running a number of different ads. So I could be running version A and version B, version A, and version B, right? So I'm running multiple campaigns with multiple ad sets, running multiple ads, and I run all of this traffic to a specific landing page. And so people go into the landing page, they log in, and I'm going to use our study guide for this example, right? So our ebook for our study guide, people log in their name, log in their address, they download the book, the ebook. But then you have a big question. What audience worked the best, right? So what audience generated the best or the most leads, and what ads generated also the most leads? Yes, you can use the pixel, you can use other tools, but we've seen that UTMs are probably the easiest way to track them, right? So what are UTMs? And if you look at this URL or link that I have here, right? So the URL or link, if you see, this is our URL for this specific landing page, right? So if you go to markeko.com/Facebook Blueprint Study Guide, so the first part, which is right here, that's our specific landing page. But if you see, there's a second part to this URL, which are basically UTMs. So I have UTM source, UTM medium, campaign, term, and content. There's different ways in how you use UTMs, but what are UTMs? UTMs are basically used for tag, right? So you're tagging your URLs. Why? Because you want to have more specifics or specific info on Google Analytics. And so what UTMs will do is they'll allow you to know specifically within Google Analytics, basically the traffic or performance of your traffic. The way we use them is basically to track what audience ads and campaigns are performing the best. And so how do we use them? And I'm going to show you today with an example with specifically with our landing page, right? So I'm generating, again, campaigns, different ad sets, different ads to one landing page. I want to know what campaign, what audience, and what ads are performing the best. So basically, which of these three are generating the most leads? And so how do I do this? And I'm going to show you, I use lead pages for this. You can use Instapage. There's other tools that work as well. But if you look at the landing page here, you have a couple of different variables, I guess, or values that the landing page is taking. So one is the first name, and second is email address, which you have here. But what you don't see is that we've added below a number of different variables, which are UTMs, that you can see here: source, medium, campaign, term, and content. And so why do we add them and why do we structure them this way? Because these are hidden values. So these are values that the user won't see. But what this is doing is this is going back to the URL and taking all of those URL tags that you put on your landing page or the link that you're using, and it's including them as part of the information that's being taken out or taken into your CRM or email marketing tool that you're using from the traffic that you generated. And so why is this key? Because if I track those UTMs within my CRM, I can know better what campaign, ad set, or audience and ad is working or creative is working the best. So how does that work? And I'm going to show you a couple of things. So, and I'm not going to go into detail of what UTMs are, but because I'm expecting you to know a little bit about it, but I'm going to show you how we use them, right? And so if you go to the URL or UTM builder, you're going to find this form, right? And this is from Google. So Google will give you this form where you can basically put the website URL, which in this case is Markeko Facebook Blueprint Study Guide, right? Is going to show me a couple of different variables, specifically 5. So source, medium, name, term, and content. How should you use those variables? And these are the variables that are going to be added, right, after your normal URL so that you can tag it better. And so how do we use them? A couple of key things here. One is source, it should be Facebook, right? Medium, it should be social. And these are basically your biggest, think of UTMs or source, medium, name, term, and content as different buckets. And these should be the biggest buckets out of all. So you should always put in source Facebook, and you should always put in medium social. Why? Because you want to align this with Google Analytics. How do we change and how do we use name, term, and content? And this is where it's key, because this is something that took us a while to figure out, but it's become very useful for tracking and understanding better who's generating and what campaigns, ad sets, or ads are generating the best results for lead generation, right? And so what we usually do is a couple of things. One is we'll use the campaign name and we'll put the same name that we're using on our Facebook ad. So if you think about this, this is your Facebook ad and you're structured, right? So the name of the campaign, I'm going to put the same name as I'm using as the name of the campaign within Facebook. What about ad set, right? What about the term? So what we do within term is that we use the same name that we're using for our ad set. And for content, we use the same name that we're using for our ad. And so what this will do is that when people log in, right? And when people go into, they click on the link or they click on the ad is going to have those tags. It's going to have Facebook, social, the name of my campaign, of my ad set, and the name of my ad, right? And so what this will do is it will give me basically this URL here, this long URL, like I mentioned, where you have your normal URL, but you also have your URL with your UTMs, right? So you have campaign, you have term, and you have content, medium, and source. And if you see, source has Facebook, right? So my source, let's use a different color, has Facebook. The medium has social. Campaign, Facebook campaign name. Term, Facebook ad set name. And my content, my ad name. And so what this will do is that when people go into the landing page, because we have those hidden values, within my landing page, right? Because I already have source, I have medium, I have campaign, term, and content that the user is not seeing, but the tool will take them. It will take those UTMs that we're using for the URL, right? And so how does this work? And I'm going to give you an example of how we use it specifically for our study guides. And so if you see here, we have the same thing, right? We have our website URL, and then I'm gonna say, well, we're gonna send the source is gonna be Facebook, our medium is gonna be social, but then for my name, I'm gonna use the same name I'm using for the name of the campaign, right? So remember, this is your campaign name. What about my term, right? So term, this is gonna be the ad set name. And what about content? So content is gonna be my ad name. And so what this is doing is that it's Google or the UTM builder or URL builder is going to build this long URL, right? Where again, I'm having my normal URL plus my UTM source, my medium, my campaign, my term, and my content, right? So this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Which same thing here. I have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. And so what I do is this is the same URL. So this is the URL I use on my campaigns. So I don't use the normal URL. So I'm not going to use this one because this one doesn't have tags. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one right here. And this is the same URL I use within my campaign, right? So when I go into Facebook and I'm building a new traffic or conversion ad, right? So let's click here on traffic and we're going to go all the way down. And we're going to click on our fan page, right? We're going to use a single image. That's fine. That doesn't really matter at this point. So I can use two things. One is I can do the normal URL, which is this one, but this one doesn't have UTM, so I'm not going to know where people are coming from. Or I can copy this URL and I can paste it here. So I can paste the long URL. So if you see, this is still catching the same thing, but now I have UTMs within that, right? And so I can change my display link so that it's still markeko.com. But when people click on this ad, they're going to go specifically to my landing page with URL parameters. So there's two ways in which you can install or use UTM parameters. One is to use the website URL, right? The long one, the one I showed you. So you copy paste this. Or two, you can basically just copy paste the UTMs and paste them here within the URL parameters. So what this will do is it's going to add the parameters to your normal URL. So this is doing the same thing that we did before. So instead of using the UTM builder or the URL builder by Google, right, which is this one, your campaign builder, you can do it within Facebook. But sometimes this can be very confusing and people can get lost doing this. So what we usually try and do and recommend is use the UTM builder or the URL builder. Use a second tool, right, that allows you to capture that data from those UTMs. So you have source, you have medium, campaign, term, and content. Because what this will do is it's going to give me 7 different variables from the user. So when people click on the ad, they click basically on the form and they submit the form. I'm going to get their name. I'm going to get their email address, right? But I'm also going to get 5 different variables or metrics that I want to use. I'm going to get source, I'm going to get medium, I'm going to get campaign, I'm going to get term, and I'm also going to get content. And so now you not only have the info, right, of your user, but now you know a couple of things. You know that they're coming from Facebook, right, which is social. But you also know a couple of key things. Because you're using campaign, as I mentioned here, the campaign name, under campaign, ad set, and ad, under content and terms. Now what this is going to show you is that I'm going to have the campaign name for that user. I'm also going to have the ad set name because I use the same name within term, right? And I'm also going to have my ad name. Why? Because I'm using my content as my ad name. And so now you have a number of or more information on your users, and you can optimize your campaign a lot better because now you know specifically what campaigns are generating you the most leads, what ad sets or audiences are generating you the most leads, and what ads are actually generating you the most leads. So if you think about this within a funnel perspective, right? So usually, again, I'm going to have campaigns. Sorry, I'm going to use the same color. So I have campaigns. I have an ad set. And I can have a second ad set, right? I have multiple ads. So variable A, variable B, variable A, variable B. All of them are going to the same landing page, right? So all of those ads are going specifically to the same landing page. What's the big difference now is that when people actually leave their data, so when I generate a lead, I now know what specific campaign they came from, right? What ad set they came from, and what ad they came from. Why? Because I'm using UTMs. I'm using UTMs to track that traffic. I'm using the UTMs that are being saved within my landing page within the hidden values. So the hidden values are allowing me through UTMs to know what campaign, what ad set, and what ad is generating me the most leads and the most efficient campaigns. So use UTMs to better track your campaigns and also to optimize your campaigns based on what's working the best, right? What's generating you the most leads. We use this a lot for companies that are not necessarily online. So if you're a real estate developer, if you're a company where you generate leads, it goes into a CRM, your sales process is long and you want to know and you want to optimize your campaigns, not necessarily on what clicks are the cheapest, but what leads are generating you the most sales, right? How do I know that? Because I can go back to my UTMs and I can tell what campaign, what ad set, and what ad is generating me the best leads. So again, this is a topic that's a bit advanced. Why? Because you need to know about UTMs, a little bit about web, Google Analytics, and just understand what you're looking for. But use the UTMs to better understand how to track your lead generation and just how to be more efficient. So again, thanks for listening today. I make Write your questions below. I know that this might be a difficult topic to understand. You might have gotten lost through it as well. So just click on your questions below if you didn't understand anything, if you need help understanding better how to track your leads through UTMs. I hope this helped. Make sure you log into our Facebook group as well and join our community, ask questions, download our free study guide, and I hope I see you guys next time. Thank you.